And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report today on the 8th of June, 2025. Didn't get the box office right. I thought Ballerina was going to do better than it did, which is impressive, which is a say thing, because Lilo and Stitch should have been able to beat that. Lilo and Stitch continues to be number one for its third week in a row with 32.5 million. At number two, you have Ballerina with 25 million. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning at number three with 15 million. Karate Kid Legends with 8.7 million, and Final Destination Bloodlines at 6.5 million. So obviously, top to first off, should note, still, if you add it all up, $100+ million weekend at the box office. That is again just a good barometer of the health of the box office. People are still going to the theaters despite certain chains screwing people over. So that's good to see. Lilo and Stitch, they're 32.5. Lilo and Stitch is having a really good run, man. Like, if you look at this, it opened on 146, dropped 57.7, which isn't all that surprising. I was a little surprised because it's a family-friendly film, but still, made 61 million. Now drops 47.4. Those are good drop-offs, right? And that's just good, healthy, not progression, but not degression. And just a good drop-off. That's all. It's a healthy drop-off. In fact, if anything, it's beyond healthy for that third weekend. So right now we look at it worldwide, it's standing at $772.5 million. Might as well run it up to 73. It's close enough. It's 5.9. It's 5.9. So run it up to 6. So just round it up. 73. It'll hit 73 tomorrow probably. But 772 or 773. So that's great. Fantastic. Two big questions. Is the movie profitable? Yes. It's God almighty. Is it profitable? Did it make its money back in space? It's all because it's only made like about $100 million. I believe it's only got about 100 in marketing, if I'm not mistaken. Only about 100 in marketing. And it had to hit about 300. It did that in its opening weekend. As it stands worldwide right now, that means if we take this, roughly speaking, on give or take an extra 10 million or something like that, this film's made about $300 million profit. That's 2 MCU movies, give or take, worth of profit, and it's still making money, still making a decent amount of money. So it's a nice chunky win for Disney, 100%, which is good because they kind of needed a financial win this year. Captain America didn't do as well as they hoped, and Thunderbolt certainly didn't do financially anyway as well as they hoped. So the question then becomes, is this still going to hit the $1 billion club? I don't know. I still got 28 million. 227 million more to go. It's in its third week now, and the international is now starting to wane a bit. Mind you, it's still made almost, doing the math, almost 100 million, actually about 100 million. No, but almost 100 million internationally, so it's still got a little bit of juice left on the tank for the international markets. When I say a little bit of juice, I'm not talking about the scratch like 10, 50 million. I'm talking about maybe like another 40, 50 million next week. But that's not going to be enough to cover $227, $28 million, even with domestic adding into it, which domestically it's still probably got about another 50 million left in it at least. So it's probably got at least another 100 million, probably more. Like, I can definitely see it hitting 900 million. That's still, I think, very much in the ballpark. $1 billion's going to be tough. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's one of those scenarios, the longer we go without getting within a certain margin of $1 billion, the less likely it becomes. And I'll say this, if it wasn't for this coming week, I'd say it'd still actually be a solid shot. But we got How to Train Your Dragon coming up this week. And all the people who saw it at CinemaCon said it is fantastic. So, and you want to talk about something that competes for the same direct demographic? Oh, that is a direct competitor to this. Other films that have come out, yeah, Karate Kid could kind of take a little bit of money, but nothing serious. Ballerina certainly wasn't anything that's counter-programming. Mission Impossible, that's counter-programming. No. How to Train Your Dragon, that's direct competition. And yeah, its opening week is going to be pretty damn big, even if it only opens like 80 or 90 million, which I actually don't know what the tracking of the film is right now. I'm willing to bet might be over 100 million though. It is still going to take a huge chunk of this audience away next week. So this is not gonna look good for its long term in terms of hitting the billion. In terms of profit, like I said, it's made $300+ million worth of profit alone. So, and again, in case anyone needs to know, the general rule is whatever that number is, take, and every studio is different, or theater is different, but take, roughly speaking, a third of that. Cut it by a third, because that's the theater's take. And then you got to subtract the marketing budget from it, and then that's your overall profit is what you get there, which means roughly speaking. All right, I'll do the quick math. Not that anyone's really asking, but I'll do the quick math here. Just for a second, 2, that's 8. Carry the 1 again. That's 4. So 284 minus that is, let's see here now. So another 12. So that's about 5. No, that can't be 284, can it? Let's see, divided by 3. So 2. Then carry that over. Oh, no. Sorry. No. 257. Sorry, it's about 257. That was my bad on the math there for a second. Normally, I'm pretty good at math. Sometimes, though, and I'm doing it just off the top of my head. A little bit of a brain fart. But regardless, so that means you're looking at about 515 after that, and then you take, so it's made about $315 million roughly. Again, that's 2 MCU worths of films if you want, which is, that's actually impressive. That's how much, even though the MCU is kind of in a rough patch right now, that's how big and powerful the MCU really has become, that you can measure box office in MCU films you can make out of the profit. And right now you can get about 2 decently budget MCU films at about almost $160 each. So yeah, or you could get about 3 decent sized like Lilo and Stitch level films, 50 mid-level films, 50 mid-level films, like six mid-level films, like at 50 million, or you can just keep going. So like that's a lot of profit the Lilo and Stitch has made in just its 3rd week. So we'll have to wait and see what its ultimate box office is going to be. From the world of John Wick, Ballerina, only opening at $25 million. Now, luckily, the international finally kicked in. I had to wait a little bit for that, but we got it right now at $51 million worldwide, domestically $25 million, which does put it at a higher opening weekend than the original John Wick by a decent margin, but it puts it under even the second film that only opened to about 30, but was made on less, because the original John Wick was only made on 20, second was made on 40, the third one I want to say was made on 80, because they kept basically just raising the budget by a certain amount conservatively, and then fourth one was made on about 100. So this didn't open all that strong, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure Lionsgate was hoping for something more, because it's got the John Wick name attached to it. John Wick is in the film. It's a really fun time. It's hyper violent, all that. Ana de Armas is a good draw, usually. So I guess the question is, what went wrong here? Well, you still have Lilo and Stitch clear in theaters, which didn't really detract the market away from the people who are not Lilo and Stitch fans, but for the people who would say have families and want to see this but can't take their kids, that might have hurt a little bit. I also think that this film got bumped up, got pushed too late. This film was not supposed to come out this week. This film was supposed to come out months ago. And this is the same problem you get a lot of the time when you push something. It's that we keep seeing the trailer over and over again, and you get tired of it. I want to say this is kind of what happened with Fall Guys. What happened with Godzilla King of the Monsters is that you keep, and the Bike Riders, not that the Bike Riders was going to make like billions of dollars or anything like that, but could have made more than what it did in the placement it got put in. So I think the fact that you kept putting it off for so long really hurt this. And the fact that we live in the streaming age then also means that anyone who was super excited but no longer super interested just said, oh, I'll just wait till it comes out on streaming. So, and then normally I would say this would be a good time of year for it, but you still had Thunderbolts, which admittedly was in its, what week is it in now? Like 7th, I want to say. Thunderbolts in its 6th week, and Mission Impossible, 2 really action-heavy films that mind you, we're going to take a lot away. Certainly not Thunderbolts, but it's still a little bit. But Mission Impossible is only 3 weeks behind it. I've heard a lot of people say, you know, we don't live in the era now where big releases can open up a week apart from each other and be okay. And that is true to an extent, but this isn't among those huge releases. That's the problem. If this were a bigger franchise, which John Wick franchise has always been profitable, but it's not one of those. I mean, I think if you add all the profit of all the films together, John Wick 4 made like 424, 430 something. The third one made like 300 something. That's 700-ish. It's almost, if you add all 4 films together, $1 billion franchise. Almost. And this might get it over the hump, no matter what it lands at. But it's kind of like the Mission Impossible, where it's the Mission Impossible, where I basically said this film is franchise doesn't make the kind of money to warrant a budget like this. And unfortunately, the Ballerina was made on between $80 and $90 million, which means average out to 85. Now, apparently, it's only got like 45 to 50 million in marketing, which makes sense. So if you do the basic math on that, even if you highball it, the film only has to really do maybe 221 or 220, not 220, 210, 220 to break even, which you would think wouldn't be that big of an issue. Like, if the film had opened, say, more like on 50 million, maybe we could have more of a conversation, but it opened on 25. Now, luckily, this could have the same effect as the original John Wick, where there's not enough competition to hurt it, and it can get some legs going, which is possible. If we look at the coming slate for the rest of the month until we hit Jurassic World, this week, we've got How to Train Your Dragon, Life of Chuck, The Materialist, and Kawawai Tonu, which I don't know what that is, probably won't matter that much in terms of the box office. So, yeah, I mean, there's obviously How to Train Your Dragon is going to be number 1, but nothing hurts it in terms of its genre. Then you got 28 Years Later, which is really the only true, and Elio. But again, nothing hurts it in terms of its genre. If I find the rest of June here real quick. Let's see here, 27th. F1 and Megan 2.0. Megan 2.0 could definitely hurt it. Just because it's more of they've gone more the camp action route with it than anything else. So yeah, that could definitely cause a problem for it. But it does have a few weeks to maybe have some legs to it. Yes, you have How to Train Your Dragon coming out this week, which will hurt Lilo and Stitch up the. I'm not going to say that. I'm getting mowing Lilo, but it's going to hurt it up the yin yang. But Ballerina is at least in a position where it can at least have some legs. Unfortunately, it just didn't open up strong. If it even opened at, say, like 35, we could be talking about some more effective legs. As it stands worldwide right now, it's only at 51 against, like I said, a $80 to $90 million budget. If I average it out, that's 85. If you do the math, at the $45 million marketing budget, that's about 130. So that would mean that would mean that this film has to make just over 200 million, around 210 would be breaking even. Even if I highball it, 220 would be fine. I just don't know if it's going to have that kind of legs. Let's actually take a quick look at the John Wick franchise and see what each one of them did internationally. Because this is going to be one of those scenarios where the international market is going to be key here, I think, for it. Not to say it can't make a little bit of money here, but international. Okay, so John Wick, the original John Wick, opened at 14 million domestically. Was about split down the middle for what it made profit-wise. Okay, cool, wonderful. Then you got John Wick Chapter 2, which was made on a little bit more, made on about 40 million, but it did significantly better at the box office, and actually domestically did better here than it did internationally. Okay, but we still can see the kind of base number of around 80-ish million for the second one, and then about 40 for the other one. Okay, then you get the Parabellum, which made F tons more, and again, domestically, did better domestically than internationally. This is unfolding well for this film. Finally, international. International. All right. So internationally, we did do much better on the fourth one than we did all the other ones. But to be fair, it still made like 187 domestically. So it's not like it crashed and burned domestically. And 440 is the overall total. So yeah, and then let me do that math again real quick for what the franchise currently is like at 768, and then 868, and then 872, 842. So actually, yes, no, 942. So yes, actually, this franchise right now is $1 billion franchise when you stack it all together. That being said, I mean that doesn't mean you can spend too much. And to be fair, they've never like gone insane on their budgets. Like, you'd think that 80 or 90 million would be a good number for this film, but clearly that's not quite the case. And like I said, I think it comes down to the fact we kept seeing the trailer for too long, so it kind of detracted interest. I'll also say this, despite the fact that it's the world of John Wick, and John Wick himself, Keanu Reeves, is in the movie, I have a feeling that the fact that it's not an actual John Wick film maybe hurt it a little bit. But I don't know. That's just a guess. We'll have to wait and see if it can really reap the rewards of the legs it has, or the advantage it has for the next few weeks. Because otherwise, that's gonna suck. Because all the other films have done well. They've done really well, and I just like to see this franchise continue to succeed. Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, $415 million worldwide right now. Unfortunately, this also tells me that the international is slowing down big time, because it opened fine. It opened to a franchise high, but it's not an opening that a $300 to $400 million film can sustain. Because again, if you average it out, it's about I want to say it's about 350. Then you factor in marketing. Hold on one second. I'm gonna just Mission Impossible one more time here. Boop 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 boop. Mission Impossible. Boop. Final Reckoning marketing budget. Boop boop boop. The final estimate between marketing budget between 150 and 200, combined with the estimated which means on the high end it's 600 million. Which is, on the high end, that's 600 million. That means this film would have to make 900 million to break even. But obviously they're also saying between 150 and 300. So if you lowball it, the film has to hit about 600 something. If you highball it, it has to make 900 million. And if you mid-ball it, which is what I would normally do when I see an average like that, when I see two different numbers saying between, I would average it out. So that's 175 and 350. That means you're looking at a film that's made on 525, which even the Fast and the Furious movies don't get that extreme yet. That means, though, you'd still have to hit about 750 just to break even, which is the high bar for the franchise. And look, it's a good movie. It's too long. You need to cut 15 minutes out at least. Cut a little bit of the flashbacks out. Shorten some sequences down. Would have flowed better. Would have been able to have more screenings of it. But, yeah, 450 is just not going to cut it. 450 is the equivalent of the lowball budget. With the last film, I actually understood why it got so bloated, the budget, because they had delays because of COVID and all that. So I understand why the budget got bloated. I do. I don't get the budget being bloated on this. I really don't. Is it Tom Cruise's ego? Like, don't get me wrong. With Maverick, he's earned the right to kind of do a lot of this stuff. And look, even if this wasn't going to be the last one, with numbers like that, this might be the last one. Oh man. Ugh. I wouldn't have such a visceral reaction if this had been over like 500 million by this week, because we're in its third week right now. So yeah, if it had been like 500 plus million at this point, I'd have less of a visceral reaction because of where it was as of last week. It was like in the 300, so it would have still jumped about 100 some odd million dollars. Here though, it's not. It jumped like, I want to say like 80 million between the international and the domestic, so not good. No bueno. This film's probably going to be losing a lot of money. A lot of money. Chronic Legends, a film that's not overly losing money, to be honest. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Karate Kid. Karate Kid. Boo, 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 doo, doo, doo. Karate Kid. I never even watched the animated. I just remember that from Nostalgia Critic. All right, Karate Kid Legends. What was the budget on this? Budget is about 45. That's right. It was about 45 million. Reasonably costed movie, or reasonably not reasonably costed. A reasonable cost for a movie like this, I think. 45 million, not bad. About 30-ish million in marketing, I'd say, give or take. I mean, I don't know if there is a marketing budget on this right now, but let's see if I can find marketing budget. Marketing budget. And does the AI overview give us anything or close to it? Fully out of budget, yeah, but that doesn't include market. Okay, so I don't have a firm marketing budget on this at the moment, unfortunately. But I would estimate between like 20 to 30, maybe 40 at most. Which on a $45 million budget means this film, I think I did this last week, but yeah, it only has to hit like, if it can hit like 110 million, it would actually be okay. It'd be fine. If this can hit the low hundreds, it will be perfectly, like even if I highballed at the 40, that means the film really just has to hit 130. I will say this, it's going to be struggling because it only made about, what was it this weekend, about 10 something? It made 8.7, so it did drop a fair bit. But clearly it's also got international marketing value as well, or international appeal as well. So it's not the end of the world. It's only in its second week. Now, mind you, we got big family film like How to Train Your Dragon again coming out, but this might be able to carve out its niche a little bit. It might. It's already made 74 million worldwide right now, which is not a bad number at all things considered, against a $45 million budget. It's still got more in the tank. We're only in its second week, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I guess the question would be, why do we think that a lot of people didn't go to this movie? And really, maybe it's because the Karate Kid's kind of run its course as a franchise. Honestly, I think, the movie wasn't fantastic. I liked the movie, but it wasn't fantastic. I think that's always another. That's a problem not for your opening weekend. That's a problem unless like the reviews are coming out early and then say it sucks. But it's a problem for your long-term box office, definitely. I don't know though. We'll see what happens with it. It could surprise us in the long run. It could get a second one. Final Destination: Bloodlines, a franchise that just keeps ticking. A movie that just keeps on ticking. It's at $257 million right now against a really reasonable budget. What was it again? Final Destination: Bloodlines. What was that budget again? I want to say it was 50. It was 50 million, I want to say. And it had about 50 in marketing. So it only had to hit $150 to break even, roughly speaking. Or was it like 60? I'll check just to be safe. Final Destination, Bloodlines, the Line of Blood, Final Destination, Bloodlines. I don't want just the Final Destination. Bloodlines, budget. And yeah, it was 50 million. And so, yeah, and it probably had about 50 million in marketing. So yeah, this film it's made its money back a while ago at this point. Now it's just taking laps. Yeah, and this film, if you do the basic math on it, had made about you take the studio's cut out of the equation, about 170, so it's made about $70 million. That's, for a small budget film, that's impressive. And it's still going. There's a legit shot when its run is done, and mind you, its run's kind of coming to an end. I mean, maybe not coming to an end, but it's starting to run out of steam. It could be about $300 million, which I think they'll just be opening bottles on that one. Warner Brothers, by the by, is having a damn good year this year. Between this, Sinners, Minecraft, they're having a damn good year. The Phoenician Scheme, $6.2 million. Now, from what I understand, the budget's only about $30 million. And for a Wes Anderson film like this isn't bad. Don't get me wrong, it's not a film that's designed necessarily to make money. Focus Features doesn't make a lot of films that are big blockbuster number type films, but they do make a lot of more art housey films, Oscar award winning films, just weird films like this. So yeah, the fact that it's actually not doing that bad, all things considered, is impressive for a film like this. And then we got Bring Her Back, which dropped only 51%. Good for good for it. And at around 15 million, I'm assuming the film's made on chump change, so good for it. Don Evil Eye. I don't follow this anime. I know this is one of the newer ones. It has I don't really know much about this franchise as a whole, but Sinners 2.9 million, almost 3. It's pretty closed out. It's run now. I believe it's showing up on HBO Max either this week, last week, or the next week. So my girlfriend's definitely interested in watching it. But yeah, 357. I mean, they were. I don't know if they were expecting that. They got to be happy with that. Thunderbolts 374. Look, it didn't do what they probably were hoping for. It didn't make profit per se. It didn't do badly. It didn't like crash and burn either. But it didn't make profit, which sucks. But what it did do is give good word of mouth about a Marvel film again, which is more, I think, what they need more than films making. I mean, do they want their films to make money? 100%. But what they need is good word of mouth, good reputation back. Because right now their reputation isn't completely shit, but it's not in the best place right now. I think that's fair to say. Then we got Dangerous Animals, which I was kind of interested in, but I got to be a little choosy right now with how many movies I see until I can find more steady work again. And for anyone who didn't watch my, which video was it? I don't know. The video I did earlier this week. I did let you all know. I did previously lose my job, and I don't make money on this, unfortunately. We're trying to get that back to working again because apparently I'm owed money, but whatever. Regardless, it's one of those things where I do have to be picky and choosy just a little bit of the movies I see at the moment. So I'm kind of try to limit it to one a week. There's like 2 huge ones coming out, I'll see too, but also got to be focusing on getting a new car right now. So yeah, it's a lot of crap going on in my life, but I'm still here. I'm keeping an optimistic attitude, applying for places at the moment and hoping to see what comes. But yeah, I did kind of want to see this. Obsessed with a shark obsessed serial held captive on his boat, forgot how to escape for becoming ritualistic feeding for the sharks below. Joy and rapture. And then Friendship is still going on, making that little bit of money. The Last Rodeo, again, came and went. These films really have a niche audience, so they don't normally do very well. Besides that, Dogma had its 25th anniversary release. Holy crap. I was only 10 when this film came out. Minecraft is pretty done, but it did cross 950, so good for it. Life of Chuck it will have a wider release this week as well. I've heard interesting things about it. But otherwise, there's not much else to say. Like everything has kind of run its course. So, with that being said, this week, as we said, we have How to Train Your Dragon, The Life of Chuck, and Materialist. Those are going to be your real big ones. I think we can all agree How to Train Your Dragon is going to be number 1. I don't think anyone is contesting that. But after that, Life of Chuck's not going to be very big, and neither is The Materialist. Ooh, this is tough, actually. Because Ballerina doesn't have any counter programming this week. Or any competition this week at all. So it could take low to mid 50% drop, which puts it roughly speaking at let's just say 2 point. Let's be nice and say 50%. I'll even go and say a little lower and say about 11 million next week. Sure. I think 11 million is reasonable. Lilo and Stitch might take a big drop next week because of How to Train Your Dragon. But the thing is, even if it takes, say, a 60-65% drop, that still puts it above Ballerina. Because if you do the math, it's at 32.5 right now. 50% of that would mean it's roughly a little over 16 million. So then you just take another 3.2 off of that, puts it down to about 13 million. It would have to drop almost 70% to be lower than what I would predict Ballerina to be at next week. Assuming I'm right about Ballerina. So I will actually say, believe it or not, How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo and Stitch, then I will go Ballerina, though. Then I'll say it will still be Mission Impossible next week. And then I'll still put Karate Kid next week. Because even if it's another 50 some odd percent for Karate Kid, that puts it at about 4 point something. That would mean, and let's say Final Destination is still about, I don't know. Actually, I still got to factor in Life of Chuck and Materialist, though. Oh, hold on. I will still say Mission Impossible at number 4, but I'll put the Materialist at number 5. I think of the new releases, besides How to Train Your Dragon, it's got the best shot. Anyway, that's my thoughts and predictions. What do you think? Why do you think the Ballerina didn't do as well as it could have, should have, or did it do as well as you thought it deserved? Let me know. Are you not a fan of the John Wick franchise? Do you think it needs to burn in hell, or are you just like, it's all right? So yeah, why do you think that? Why do you think Beyond? Why do you think Karate Kid is maybe struggling a little bit? What do you contribute to the Final Destination's miraculous, run? Lilo and Stitch, do you think it will in fact cross $1 billion? All these questions and more, or all these answers to these questions, let me know in the comments below. Till then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you for the next one.